The judge's gavel came down, and I couldn't breathe. Just couldn't pull air into my lungs. My hands were shaking so bad I dropped my purse, and all those peppermints I keep for my dry mouth went rolling across that cold courtroom floor. Motion denied. 2 words. That's all it took for my own son to steal everything Harold left me. I'm sorry. Give me a moment. Even now, 3 months later, my chest gets tight when I think about that morning. I keep this old cassette recorder by my bed because sleep doesn't come easy anymore, and sometimes talking helps. Though who I'm talking to at 2:47 in the morning, I couldn't say. My name is Eleanor. I'll be 70 next month, if that matters to anyone listening to this. 43 years I was married to Harold Morrison. Good years mostly. We built something together, not just the hotels, though Lord knows that's all anyone seems to care about now. We built a life, a family, or so I thought. I should start at the beginning, but beginnings are hard to find when you're my age. Everything connects to everything else, like those paper chains the grandkids used to make at Christmas. Pull one link and the whole thing comes apart. Harold's been gone 2 years now. 2 years, 1 month, and 16 days. I still make his coffee in the morning. 1 sugar, no cream, in that chipped blue mug he wouldn't let me throw away. It's got character, he'd say, running his thumb over the crack. Everything had character to Harold. Even me, I suppose. Though these days, I wonder what he saw that others don't. The roses are blooming again. Harold planted them our first year in the house, back when Phoenix was smaller, and you could still see stars at night. Every spring, those yellow roses come back, no matter how hot the summer was, or how much I neglect them. Stubborn as you, Harold used to tease. I'd swat him with the dish towel, and he'd grab me around the waist, and we'd dance right there in the kitchen to whatever was on the radio. I'm getting ahead of myself. Or behind. Time does funny things when you're alone. The trouble started. No, that's not right. The trouble was always there, I think. I just couldn't see it. Didn't want to see it. When you love someone, you make excuses. You tell yourself stories. He's just stressed about work. She's overwhelmed with the kids. They don't mean it. But they do mean it. They always mean it. I found the letter 3 weeks ago. Wasn't even looking for it. Just trying to pack up Harold's study. 2 years I'd avoided that room, leaving everything exactly as he left it. His reading glasses still on the desk, bookmarks still in that Tom Clancy novel he never finished. But the realtor said buyers want to see all the rooms, and I can't manage this big house alone anymore. The letter was in his lockbox, behind the will I thought I knew about. Harold's handwriting, still so clear even though his hands shook near the end. My dearest Eleanor, if you're reading this, then I'm gone, and you're dealing with things I hoped would never come to pass. I need you to know about the second will, the real one. It's with Marcus Chen at the firm. I should have told you, but I was a coward. I kept hoping our children would prove me wrong. I've watched them, Ellie. Watched how they look at you when they think no one's noticing. Like you're already gone. Like you're in the way. It breaks my heart, but a man protects his wife. Even from beyond the grave. The hotels, the properties, everything we built, it's yours, not theirs. Marcus has all the documents. Don't let them convince you otherwise. I love you. Trust yourself. Harold. 43 years, and he was still protecting me, even when I couldn't protect myself. I need to tell you about that morning in court, but first you need to understand about my children. David, my oldest, he's 45 now. Works at some investment firm downtown. Always was Harold's favourite, though Harold tried not to show it. David has his father's jaw, that determined set to it, but none of his kindness. When did that happen? When did my baby boy become someone who could look me in the eye and lie? And Jennifer, My Jenny. She was such a sensitive child. Cried when we had to put down the neighbor's cat. Now she sits in my kitchen where I taught her to make pie crust, and tells me I'm confused about financial matters. Her husband Richard whispers in her ear, and she nods along like a puppet. Confused, that's their favorite word. Mom's confused. Mom's getting forgetful. Mom doesn't understand. I understand plenty. I understand that 3 days after Harold's funeral, David brought papers for me to sign. Just routine stuff, Mom. Dad would want us to take care of you. I was so foggy with grief. I almost did it, but something, maybe Harold whispering in my ear, made me say I'd look at them later. I understand that Jennifer started dropping by more often, always when I was tired, always with more papers, just to help with the bills, Mom. You shouldn't have to worry about these things. I understand that when I mentioned maybe selling the big house and moving to that nice retirement community near Scottsdale, they panicked. Actually panicked. David's face went white as Harold's hospital sheets. My arthritis is acting up. Always does when I'm upset. Harold used to rub my hands with that mentholated cream, even when his own hands hurt. We're a matched set, he'd say. Broken in all the same places. I miss him so much I can't breathe sometimes. The court date was David's idea, or maybe Richard's. They blur together now. All these men who think they know better. They'd been patient for 2 years, playing the concerned family, but patience has limits when money's involved. Conservatorship. That's what they called it. Such a clean, official word for theft. They had doctor's notes. Doctors I'd never seen, mind you. But somehow they had opinions about my mental state. They had witnesses. Neighbors who'd seen me, confused, in my garden. I was looking for Harold's trowel. He always left it in the strangest places. They had financial records showing erratic spending. I donated to the Children's Hospital. Harold and I always did that in spring. But most of all, they had Jennifer. My daughter, my only daughter, stood in that courtroom and told a judge that I wasn't capable of managing my own affairs. She wore the pearl necklace I gave her for her wedding, the one that belonged to my mother. She touched it as she spoke, like it was a talisman against the truth. My mother has been showing signs of decline since my father's death, she said. Her voice was steady, practiced. We're only concerned for her well-being. She used to crawl into our bed during thunderstorms. Mommy, I'm scared. And I'd hold her between Harold and me, safe from everything. When did I become the storm she needed protection from? The judge, a young man, younger than David, listened to it all. He looked bored, honestly. Another family squabble over money. Happens every day in Phoenix. Old people with property, children with plans. I tried to speak, tried to explain about the letter, about the second will, about Marcus Chen, but my voice came out shaky. I was so nervous. And David's lawyer, when did my son need a lawyer against me, kept interrupting. Your Honor, as you can see, my client's mother is clearly agitated and confused. Confused. There's that word again. The gavel came down. Motion denied. For a moment, I thought I'd won. Then the judge continued. However, given the evidence presented, I'm granting temporary conservatorship to David Morrison, pending a full evaluation. The room spun. Actually spun. Like I was back on that teacup ride Jennifer loved at the fair. David was shaking hands with his lawyer. Jennifer was crying. Performance tears. The kind she learned in high school drama. And I was falling, even though I was sitting still. Just my heart medication. Don't worry, if anyone's actually listening to this. Though who would be? Who listens to old women at 3 a.m? After court, they took me to lunch. Can you believe that? Like we'd just finished a business meeting instead of them stealing my life. David ordered for me. When did he start doing that? While Jennifer chatted about the grandchildren. This is for the best, Mom, David said, cutting my sandwich into quarters like I was a child. Now you don't have to worry about anything. But I wasn't worried before. I was managing. I was living. I was in the way. That's what Harold saw. What he tried to protect me from. I was in the way of their inheritance, their plans, their impatience. Every day I stayed healthy, stayed sharp, stayed in that big house with its rose garden and memories. I was in the way. Sound of footsteps. A door opening. That's just Mittens. Harold named her. Said she looked like she was wearing winter gloves. She's the only one who still treats me the same. Cats don't care about conservatorships or bank accounts. They just want your lap and your warmth. Yes, I know it's late. We're both night owls now, aren't we? Where was I? Oh, the lunch. I excused myself to the restroom and called Marcus Chen from my cell phone. Yes, I have a cell phone. Yes, I know how to use it. Confused? My foot. Marcus had been Harold's friend for 30 years. Poker nights and fishing trips, and all those boring business dinners I had to smile through. Eleanor, he said, and just hearing someone say my name, like I was still a person, made me cry. I've been expecting your call. He knew. Of course he knew. Harold told him everything. Can you come to my office tomorrow? He asked. Bring the letter. And Eleanor, don't tell anyone. Not yet. I didn't sleep that night. Kept thinking about Jennifer at 5. Missing her front teeth. Grinning as she showed me the dollar the tooth fairy left. David at 10. Building model airplanes with Harold. So careful with the tiny pieces. When did those children disappear? Or were they always mirages, and I just couldn't see through my mother's eyes? Marcus's office is in one of those glass towers downtown. I had to take 3 buses to get there. David had already started managing my accounts, cancelled my credit cards for my protection, but I still had bus fare, still had my legs, still had what Harold always said was my best asset, my stubbornness. Marcus looks older now. We all do. But his handshake was firm, and his eyes were kind, and he had tea ready. Remembered I don't drink coffee after noon. Harold was very specific, he said, pulling out a file thick as a phone book. He updated everything 6 months before he died. He knew what they were planning. I have the copies here. All legal, all binding, all proof that Harold left everything to me, not in trust, not with conditions, but free and clear. The hotels, the commercial properties, the investments, all of it. Your husband was a smart man, Marcus said. He structured everything through holding companies. Your children think the estate is worth maybe 10 million. The real number is closer to 60. 60 million. I couldn't even picture that much money. Still can't. Harold and I started with nothing. Just a loan from his uncle and a crazy idea about affordable hotels for traveling families. We worked 18-hour days. I did the books while he charmed investors. We ate peanut butter sandwiches for dinner and called it a feast. 60 million. And my children couldn't wait for me to die to get it. Marcus explained the legal strategy. How we'd challenge the conservatorship. How we'd prove David and Jennifer had lied to the court. How we'd restore my rights and my dignity. It won't be pleasant, he warned. They'll fight. They'll say terrible things. They already were saying terrible things. At least now I'd fight back. But first, I had to be smart. Harold didn't raise no fool, as he used to say. I went back to that lunch like nothing had happened, smiled when David patted my hand, nodded when Jennifer suggested I might be happier in a nice facility, played the confused old woman they wanted me to be, all while Marcus built our case, The hardest part was the loneliness, not the being alone. I'd been alone since Harold died, but the knowing I was truly alone, that my children saw me as an obstacle, not a mother. That family was just a word, not a feeling. I started recording these tapes because I needed to tell someone, even if that someone was just me. Listening back on nights when the doubt crept in, when David's voice in my head, "Mom, you're confused," sounded more real than my own thoughts. 2 weeks after that first meeting with Marcus, Jennifer came by with tea. "My favorite kind," she said, though it wasn't. Harold knew my favorite tea. Jennifer never paid attention to things like that. We sat in the kitchen, the afternoon light catching the dust motes. She looked tired. Guilty, maybe, though I might have been projecting. "Mom," she started, then stopped. Tried again. "Mom, I need you to know this isn't personal." "Not personal. Stealing from your mother isn't personal. Richard's business is struggling," she continued. "The kids' college funds. We just need some help. And you have so much." There it was. The truth, finally. Not concern for my well-being, not worry about my mental state, just greed, dressed up in family obligation. "Your father worked for everything we have," I said quietly. "Dad's gone," she snapped, then caught herself, smiled that fake smile. "I just mean he'd want us to be taken care of." Would he? The man who wrote that letter, warning me about this exact moment. Storms coming! Harold always knew when storms were coming. His joints would ache, and he'd stand at the window, watching the sky. "Weather's changing, Ellie," he'd say, like he was talking about more than rain. After Jennifer left that day, I found myself in Harold's study again, sitting in his chair, smelling the ghost of his cologne. I talk to him sometimes. Still do. Crazy old woman behavior, I suppose. But it helps. I'm scared. I told the empty room. What if they're right? What if I am confused? What if I can't do this alone? The house creaked, the way old houses do, and I could almost hear Harold's voice. "You were never confused a day in your life, Eleanor Morrison." Stubborn, yes. Confused? No. The next morning, I did something I hadn't done in 2 years. I drove Harold's truck. David had been after me to sell it. Unsafe for someone your age. But I'd refused. It still smelled like him, coffee and sawdust, and that aftershave I bought him every Christmas. I drove to our hotel, the first one. It's been renovated 12 times, but I can still see what it was, where Harold and I painted the lobby ourselves because we couldn't afford contractors, where Jennifer took her first steps in the back office, where David broke his arm falling off the luggage cart he wasn't supposed to be playing on. The manager recognized me, even after 2 years. "Mrs. Morrison, we've missed you." Missed me. Not confused about who I was. Not worried about my mental state. Just missed me. I spent the morning there, walking through the halls, talking to staff. Some had been there 20 years. Remembered Harold. Remembered when the kids were small. They showed me the books, the improvements, the plans for expansion, my hotel, my business, my life's work, and my children wanted to take it all. The court date for the conservatorship hearing was set for next month. Marcus had assembled a team. Lawyers, doctors, financial experts, all to prove what I already knew. I was competent. I was capable. I was being robbed by the people who should protect me. But something else was happening too.